Hello, everybody. Here's coming up tonight on Now. A hooded thief strikes again. Yep, the 8th armed robbery in Greater Portland in about a week, and all of them follow a clear pattern.
And thanks to your calls and complaints, Central Maine Power will have to explain its shockingly high prices. But that could actually end up costing you more money.
And is the Second Amendment a relic of the past? Some say we need to update it or just throw it out altogether.
Today, you get to decide. This is News Center Now.
Did you save a life today? Well, you did if you stopped by the News Center Maine Blood Drive, either to donate or to work as a volunteer. We will have live updates coming up. Hello, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Christina Rex. How's this for some twisted logic? If you want CMP investigated for skyrocketing prices, you will likely have to pay for it. The power company is under investigation by the Public Utilities Commission after hundreds of customers reported shockingly high electric bills for the early part of 2018. The PUC has ordered a third-party audit of CMP, and customers will likely have to pay for that. State law says that CMP must pay for the investigation, but in the end, you may be footing the bill because CMP can raise rates to make up the money. A similar situation happened in 2015 with AmeriMaine. The company was audited and paid the price by jacking their rates. Safe to say the majority of CMP customers online are not thrilled about this possibility.
Not at all. Jessica Green says, isn't the Public Utilities Commission supposed to protect the consumer, not the company accused? But Jill says a few dollars is a small price to pay if it means her bills could go down in the long run. She says her bill more than doubled in recent months. And Barbara Hester says we need more competitive companies in Maine, writing, don't we always pay? CMP needs to suck it up. It's their problem, not the customers. We need more competition in our state. Now, we reached out to CMP to ask how it plans to cover the cost. A spokesperson told us it's too early to say.
If the investigation finds that CMP failed to provide adequate service, the PUC can order refunds to customers. A string of sunny days spoiled by some clouds up there now.
You know, the sun will help us not have to turn on our heat, which will help with our electric prices, right, Keith?
That'll be a positive. Today was like 70% nicer than I thought it was going to be, forecast-wise. I mean, look at it outside right now. It's actually beautiful through the afternoon. We got rid of the clouds and a couple of rain and snow showers we had earlier in the morning, and the front moved through very quickly. So the rest of the day was sunny and relatively mild, and still pretty sunny across much of the coastline and into the interior. Temperatures for highs today, officially 50 in Wiscasset, 48 in Portland, 53 in Lewiston, 55 in Freiburg. Again, this is 6-7 degrees above what the models were spitting out and what we had forecast for today. I didn't hear any complaints about it. It's obviously a good thing. Temperatures still in the upper 40s and mid-50s in Lewiston at the moment. So the rest of tonight, partly cloudy. We do cloud up a little bit more by tomorrow morning. We'll look for a mostly cloudy day tomorrow with a couple of breaks of sunshine. By late afternoon, early evening, though, rain starts moving in. It rains heavily for a few hours on Thursday night through early Friday morning before we move this system out of here. And behind that, we have downsloping winds and a run at 60 degrees, guys. We'll talk about that in the weekend forecast in a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thank you very much. So, do we need to update the Second Amendment? It's a conversation that you guys are having all over social media right now with your friends and your family and your neighbors. So, we want you to tell us what you think. Is the Second Amendment outdated? Go to pulse.newscentermaine.com to vote or open up the Pulse tab on our mobile app.
So here on News Center Now, we listen to you guys and we answer your questions.
And that is exactly what we are doing today. So after a former Supreme Court Justice and President Donald Trump very publicly disagreed about the future of gun rights in our country, we took your Second Amendment questions to a constitutional expert. Here's what the Second Amendment reads. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. In a New York Times op-ed, former Supreme Court Associate Justice John Paul Stevens writes that students involved in the March for Our Lives movement should demand a repeal of the Second Amendment. He says the Second Amendment was originally drafted out of concern that a national standing army might pose a threat to the security of the separate states, and that concern is, quote, a relic of the 18th century. President Donald Trump firing back early this morning on Twitter. The Second Amendment will never be repealed. We need more Republicans in 2018 and must always hold the Supreme Court. But a repeal is no small task.
What he's proposing would be very difficult to accomplish in reality.
Constitution lawyer Marshall Tinkle says repealing the Second Amendment would require 2/3 of the states in the country supporting a change. Federal lawmakers can barely agree on anything gun-related.
It's sort of like saying, I can't afford to start a grocery store, so I'm going to build a shopping mall instead.
Susan wonders if a convicted felon's rights have been infringed when a judge rules they can't possess a gun. Tinkle says it's not unconstitutional to restrict people's rights to own guns. The government already does.
The state can still regulate whether a convicted felon can own a firearm.
Other parts of the Bill of Rights, even the First Amendment, have restrictions too. Free speech is an unalienable right, but you can't shout fire in a crowded movie theater. Andrew asks, if the Second Amendment is outdated, isn't the whole Bill of Rights outdated? Many of the Bill of Rights still are very applicable today, including rules around search and seizure, cruel and unusual punishment, and making sure people get a fair shake in the court system. Now he says, really the only clearly outdated amendment is the third, in which no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. But obviously you don't really hear anybody talking about the Third Amendment with any complaints.
Obviously. Thanks. Thanks, Chris.
All right, another day, another armed robbery attempt in southern Maine. This time it was in Aroma Joe's in South Portland. That was the target. An employee tells News Center Maine that a man in a hoodie walked up to the window, tapped on the glass with his handgun. But the employee knew about the surge of crime in the area. She was ready.
And I took off into the bathroom and called 911 on my Apple Watch because I didn't have a chance to grab my phone, and they were here within 2 minutes.
Now, the attempted robber didn't make off with any money, but other businesses in Greater Bangor weren't as lucky because in just over a week, this is now the 8th holdup. Police can't confirm it's the same person in all cases, but anybody can see that there's certainly a pattern forming. It is a white male wearing a dark sweatshirt with the hood up, brandishing a gun. And except for one incident, all of these armed robberies happened in the late evenings between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Police departments are working together to catch the thief, but they could certainly use your help. If you know anything, you know what to do. Reach out to the police and let them know.
All right, Lee, thank you. If you stopped by our News Center Maine blood drive today, we're just jumping for joy and dancing in the streets. How many lives did Mainers save today? An update when we come back.
When you can be there for somebody when they need you, it is certainly one of the greatest feelings you can have.
Absolutely. And today, Mainers across the state had an opportunity to support their friends and neighbors simply by donating blood. Clay Gordon joins us now from Bangor. Clay, you were dancing for joy earlier.
I want to see it live. Come on, see it live.
I can do it live a little. I think it was like this, a little bit like that. I thought you showed that video when you guys were laughing at the tease, but hey, our statewide blood drive continues in Bangor. We were in Portland, Lewiston, Waterville, Rockland, and now we're here in Bangor at the Anna Shrine here on Broadway. The doors are closed for new walk-ins, but take a look. We have one more person actually donating blood right now. That will be the final one here in the Bangor one, and that will probably wrap up our statewide blood drive. Now, we did meet two students a little earlier today. They actually downloaded the Red Cross Blood Drive app on their phone, and that's how they scheduled their appointment and signed up. They're also looking forward to tracking the journey of their blood, and as they say, it is rewarding.
I can just picture like some little kid that needs it, and then they get it, and then like it'll be my doing, and then I'll just sleep better.
Just to know that I've helped someone by not even doing anything. I have plenty of blood to spare, so I love helping people.
And this is the app that they were using to sign up. I registered for it a little bit earlier today. It was very simple to use. The easiest part is the big schedule an appointment right there. So super easy to use here. We're going to have totals from all of our 5 locations coming up at News Center, Maine at 5:30. So stay tuned for that. Leah and Christina, back to you.
Thanks, Clay.
All right, Clay.
Imagine getting interviewed while you're laying there giving blood. That was awesome.
With the phone right on her lap, like she's ready to go. That is the today's world of blood donation.
Yep.
So there you go. All right, so this is an important issue. We want you guys to weigh in. We got this whole idea because of your conversation. So go to pulse.newscentermaine.com or open up your Pulse tab on your mobile app to vote. Is the Second Amendment outdated? And to join in on the live conversation, check into our Facebook Live feed because we are chatting with you.
And we'll have the results of that poll at the end of the show. But before that, Keith has your mild weather forecast. We'll be right back. A one-of-a-kind swimming center will be closing its doors this weekend.
And it is not a decision that's very popular within its community. The Michael Phelps Skill Center opened up in Saco about 5 years ago. It's a specialized swim training place that takes place in an 18-foot spa and uses waves as part of the training. Now, the business is owned by Phelps, who is the most decorated Olympian of all time. This skill center was a pilot. It is the only one of its kind in the nation. The 5-year contract, though, is coming to an end, and a new lease wasn't worked out. So after Saturday, the place will be closed.
A community of 18,000 people can, draw over 300 people a week into a facility like this. We're very fortunate to have had it here. I think that, it was a 5-year contract. It was designed to see what we could do with this model, and I believe we proved it can work.
I've got 2 Iranian girls who come from a culture that doesn't include a lot of water, and I told them that they'd be swimming in Lake Sebago by the summertime. Now what am I going to do? It's hard.
Representatives from the Michael Phelps Skill Center were not available for comment, but they did send out an email to all their customers to tell them of the closing just earlier this week.
Kind of a cool setup they had. I mean, it was, I was expecting to see pools. I saw these 18-foot tubs, but they use like the wave resistance to build up strength and training. And it's really unique, and it's too bad that it's going to be gone.
Swimming is a lot of work. I played water polo for fun in college. That is the hardest sport you will ever play.
Absolutely.
Water
because you have to tread water and also play a sport at the same time.
Yes, you tread water, then you finally get the ball. You're like, I don't want the ball. I just want to keep treading water. It's crazy. I can't imagine watching that. All right, so nice today. Actually, much nicer.
I walked outside. It was great.
If you get a busted forecast, is the way you want to do it. This direction, because I thought it was going to be a lot cloudier today than it was, and the day started that way. But we cleared out by about noon, and after that, off to the races temperature-wise. 55 in Freiburg, officially 54 in Lewiston, 48 in Portland, 50 in Wiscasset, and 50 in Bangor. So again, 7-8 degrees above what the computer models were spitting out. We did have some showers earlier today. We had sleet, rain, a little bit of mountain snow as well, about an inch in the mountains. All that had exited quickly, though, and clearing out. So the rest of tonight, relatively quiet. But our next storm system down here, big severe weather area here, don't worry about that. It's this rain that will lift in tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night and give us a few hours of heavier rain on Thursday night and into Friday morning. So tomorrow, for the most part, is just a cloudy day. We do have some peaks of sunshine early, but by the afternoon and early evening, rain starts to move into southwestern Maine, spreads across the entire state through the evening. Again, moderate to heavy bursts in here through the evening through early on Friday morning. We should be able to clear out by mid-morning for the most part, and that will allow temperatures to warm up a lot here in just a few hours through Friday afternoon. Scattered showers still hanging around in spots, but I think most of us are dry and most of us get some sunshine, and the air mass is mild there for Friday afternoon. Then Saturday is a nice bright day, temperatures right around 50 degrees. I like Saturday, actually. I think it'll be a nice looking day, if nothing else. All right, so I went pretty hot on these temperatures, and there's not a ton of model support for being 60, but I think we got a chance at Portland, Sanford, 57 in Wiscasset, cooler towards Bangor, Bar Harbor, and Rockland. But again, a run at 60, a definite possibility on Friday afternoon. After that, though, spring has a real fear of commitment because we just keep getting these lobes of cold air. Now remember, cold this time of the year is not cold, right? It's like that paint commercial. It's a purple, but not a purple. It's going to be, you know, below average. But that's about it through the rest of the week. But what I don't see, guys, is anything in the 70s, which I like to peak a day at 70 in through April. I don't see it quite yet. Easter Sunday, by the way, Lee, I know you were interested in this.
Yeah.
Maybe an early flurry, but most of the day is fine.
Spring has fear of commitment. Is spring a male or a female?
I don't know. I don't want to gender stereotype. I just know it doesn't want to commit.
Good answer. Moving on. Next
I
conversation.
thought I could get him to go for it. If anybody was going to take the bait, it was him.
Not
Good job.
her,
Good job. All right.
Okay, thank you, Keith.
If you could be a superhero, what kind of a superhero would you be?
I would have the ability to teleport so that I could actually be on time to things. That's my answer.
I like that. It's not possible, but I like that. But you could be somebody's hero today if you decided to give blood, equally important as you being on time. News Center Maine is teaming up with the Red Cross to host a statewide blood drive. There's Lindsay Mills traveling all over from site to site today, now live from Rockland. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, guys. Okay, real quick, I want to get back to that spring has a fear of commitment thing because today is definitely a total tease. It is so beautiful out here. We're outside the Rockland Public Library where the blood drive wrapped up a couple of hours ago, but we met so many donors today, some that used the nice weather as an excuse to get outside, take a walk, come on down here and donate. Many for the first time, others because they needed those donations at one point themselves. But for everyone, while the need for blood is a constant thing, the gratification is instant. Before the sun was up Wednesday morning, preparation was well underway at locations from Portland to Bangor for the News Center Maine Red Cross Blood Drive.
I've been donating blood since I was 18.
Brett LeBlue was one of the first to donate in Portland.
You know, it's a good, fulfilling experience, and it's not as scary as everyone probably thinks.
Some of our own News Center Maine team members rolled up a sleeve.
Well, the need is constant.
Red Cross Communications Director Ali Barraza says donations this year are down due to the combination of a serious flu season and back-to-back storms.
This has been really a unique situation, this not just the winter, but the spring as well. I mean, we've already seen in March 750 units go uncollected just in Maine alone.
Every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood. One donation can help save 3 lives. Many of the donors who gave blood Wednesday once depended on donations themselves. That was the case for Scott McMullen, who we met in Lewiston. He needed blood while recovering from a benign brain tumor 53 years ago.
I'm thrilled. There was years when I could not donate because of medications, and as their technology changed, it then became possible for me to start paying it forward.
The pleasant weather certainly helped the turnout in Rockland.
It was a beautiful spring day. I was walking by returning some library books and I thought, why not?
Some donors like Heather Donahue give just because.
Who knows when you'll need it, you know?
And I know Clay mentioned earlier that we're going to release some of the totals from the blood drive today. We are just getting word that Lewiston closed with 29 units of blood, Rockland with 42 units, and Portland with 54. And you do the math, 1 unit of blood can save up to 3 lives. A huge thank you to everybody who donated today or tried to. I know some of the facilities were at capacity. Live in Rockland, Lindsay Mills, News Center Now. Christina, back to you.
All right, Lindsay, thanks so much. Moving on to social media news now. Thanks to an investigation of Cambridge Analytica, data mining scandals, and presidential elections, we now know just how much Facebook is stalking us. Today, the social media company announced they will make it easier for you to turn off the stalking with streamlined settings and easier to understand directions. That's supposed to be available today, but when we checked our Facebook apps, it was still the old version. Until that update comes through, we want to walk you through some changes you can actually make right now. Okay, so if you're sitting at home, pull out your phone or tablet right now. Open your Facebook app and first say hello to your friends, obviously. Then go to the upper right-hand corner and select Settings. This is the screen Facebook is promising to update because right now there are a lot of options. But let's focus on one, Apps. Here you can see which websites use your Facebook login. Make sure you're okay with these sites having access to your information. Now go back to the last page. Down at the bottom, it should say Apps Others Use. If you open that, you can see exactly what information other apps have access to. Do you want bots to be able to know your religion? No? Okay, uncheck that. Are you uncomfortable with a log of your exes? Probably, so definitely uncheck that. If you really want to go down the rabbit hole, though, you can actually download an archive of your Facebook history. We have directions for that on our websites and our mobile apps. Lee?
Okay, so now put down your phones because Amanda's here to tell us what's coming up on News Center at 5:30.
Yes, we got a lot coming up, including a bus driver fired for allegedly making racial slurs and sexist remarks who has a new job. On the school board, the community voted him into office. Despite his checkered past, they think he is the best man for the job. And will Maine join in on a California lawsuit claiming it is unconstitutional to ask about U.S. citizenship in the 2020 census? That is coming up in the next half hour.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. News Center Now will continue after the break. I want to update you real quick on our Pulse results. I just have to go over here so I can see. Okay, 26%.
Do you think the Second Amendment is outdated?
26% say yes, 74% of you say no, it is not outdated. Thank you for weighing in on our poll. All right, Keith.
All right, got a lot of science today, so we're going to get right to it. I love when people call. This is actually a call or write in with questions for Brain Drops. Let's get to the question, which was, he said, years ago I read that I'll weigh less in Florida than I do in Maine. Is that true? The answer is yes. Now, it's not a ton, but there is a yes answer to this. You'll weigh less as you head closer to the equator. And here are the forces at work when you talk about how much you weigh. Your mass is always going to be the same no matter where you are. So when you talk about weight, the Earth's gravity, Sun's gravity, Moon's gravity, and Earth's centrifugal force. Now, what all of these are going to be constant. The Sun's gravity and the Moon's gravity, relatively small forces on us. In fact, I had to write this down. 3 5,000ths of Earth's force is what Sun's gravity is on Earth. So it's pretty negligible. The two things that change as you go towards the equator, Earth's gravity and the centrifugal force. So let's move on to our next nerd graphic, which is the Earth is not totally spherical. No, it's not flat, but it does have a bulge in it that's about 24 miles on total. So what that does for you is it changes gravity. Remember, gravity is directed towards the center of mass. So if you're farther from the center of mass at the equator, there will be less gravity. So if you're at the pole and your weight is 175 pounds here, the force of gravity downward is going to be different. It's 9.814 meters per second squared at the equator versus the pole. So you've got a little difference. Don't give me that face, Lee. We're not even done yet. It's going to be a little bit different on the equator. It's going to be less. Now, when you're at the poles, you can see the downward force is 9.832. So you're talking about just decimals here.
Right.
Okay, so automatically, if you take the equation in, you're weighing a little bit less at the equator by 0.4 pounds compared to the poles. Now, the other force is the centrifugal force, which is the Earth spinning. So at the equator, that's a net vector up. At the poles, there is no centrifugal force because you're standing, think about it, you're standing where the Earth is rotating. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is it's not much, but you weigh 0.53% less at the equators than you do at the poles.
And now we have the term equatorial bulge.
Equatorial bulge. But remember, your mass is the same, so you're going to look the same in the mirror.
Lovely. That was a lot to handle. And News Center at 5:30
what just happened? What happened?
Right now.
What happened?